Okay, now this Briggs engine here on this machine, this is a model 8B-H. Alright, now this engine is a model, come on, focus, 81902. Basically these were, the 8H whatever, and then they went like to the 81,000 series. But anyway, both these engines use the 4-post style coil. All right. Now, if you look here, I have a 2-post style coil on here. So what I did, basically the points assembly, the little plunger inside that operates your points, was broken off inside. Now, to get that out, I would have to dissect the engine so I could knock it through. And I don't feel like pulling out the crankshaft and everything. But anyway, the point is, you can put a newer style 2-post coil on these. But now this one, for instance, this one is electronic. Okay. So it doesn't require points. You can put the point style and still use your old points. The newer style 2-post coil that's 4 points engine. But what I'm getting at is you cannot just put the newer style coil to replace this style, because the flywheel, all right? If you look at the old style flywheel, the double magnet, you look at the newer flywheels, the large single magnet. Now, when I said that this engine here is the 8B-H, it's an older engine, but this flywheel is actually off of a 70s Briggs engine, off a 3-horse. And that engine was a horizontal. And what I used this for is because I needed the cast iron flywheel. And I didn't have a vertical with a cast iron flywheel, but I did have a horizontal. You can get, if you're using on just a lawnmower, you can get the aluminum flywheel with the single magnet that will allow you to use this. I just happen to use the cast iron because I needed it to be weighted because there's no blade. Again, this style coil will not work with the old style flywheel, but you can put like the newer one that came out in the late 60s. I think they started going to the single magnet. Another thing is coils. When you're doing them, they have different positions and depth for these mounting holes, and the curvature is different. So this coil here is off a 3-horse. This is off a 3-horse. You want to make sure you get the right curve. I believe about, I'm probably going to say it wrong, like roughly a 1 3/4 horse to about the 3.5 are the same size. Then when you get to the 4 and, 4 to 5 horse, I believe it is, they're slightly larger. And then again, it goes 6, 7, 8, if I'm not mistaken. But this is the same situation with the other engines. If you have the 6-horse aluminum block, I'm not going by the cast iron ones, the 6-horse aluminum, which are very similar to the 7 and 8. But if you have the older one with the 4-post, if you want, you can convert it to this setup with the newer style coil, as long as you swap out your flywheel. You got to keep in mind when doing this, you want to check to make sure the keyway is in the same orientation with your magnet. If it's not, the spark is going to be either too much or advanced or retardant, not retarded. But anyway, so all that's correct. I've done this dozens of times over the years on many different horsepower Briggs engines, and the reason that I sometimes do it is just when I'm out of good coils, or there's something wrong with the points assembly, like let's say a tab's broken off or whatever, because you see all sorts of stuff, I will just do this. Now, I did have to notch the governor, because this style governor mounts on the upper post. There are situations where you can use a slightly newer governor from like the 70s or later 60s, because you notice the exhaust and the carburetor on the same side. They stopped doing that around 64, and then they started doing the crossover tube. Early styles, though, they had the carburetor on this side. There's, I think, 3 different style carburetors I can think of. You got the 1 piece, and you got the one that's 2 or 3 pieces, and then you also have another one where the tank is mounted directly under the carburetor. This one just happens to have the tank on the opposite side. But if you're going to put a newer coil, you will have to swap out your flywheel. Make sure it's the same keyway orientation for timing and the same curvature and everything, because just putting it on this old style with a 2, it will not work. So yeah, just a little info there.